daughter is strong and responsible because you know what it's like to be a young black woman struggling. But your son, y'all love him and y'all spoil him and y'all buy him everything. Y'all don't make him work for nothing. And all you're doing is creating a horrible husband for somebody else's daughter. It's very true. I'm a psychologist. King.
How you doing? My name is Dante. I didn't go to this school, but I went to Portland for my undergrad in sport management. I went to Syracuse in journalism, got a master's from there. So
Syracuse. While you was at Syracuse, did you visit Queen Mother Harriet Tubman's grave?
No, I didn't. Shame
on you. She only buried 20 minutes from campus. Go ahead.
So I live in Peekskill, 20 minutes up north. I'm a recreation leader. I'm the first person of color to hold that title. I got two questions for you because I was
Peekskill. How many blacks up there?
Now it's changed. It used to be predominantly black, but now it's predominantly Ecuadorian because it's a sanctuary city. So
okay.
You know, they got the lab. But I employ black men and all that stuff, black women too. But it's a two-part question. How you bring up Deion Sanders? Like, my question to that is, how is it sense that he's wrong if he's trying to do things better and they're not giving him that?
For who?
For, I would say, himself and
that's the problem. That is our problem. Black people are a me-first people. Chinese, they have their individuals. Don't get me wrong. Everybody got their all human beings have an ego. And all human beings have their own agenda. I don't care if you're red, yellow, brown, white, or black. But in most other groups, the groups that run this world because they have a we first mentality. Me come second. Black people, me come first. We come second. Deion Sanders was in a position to create a new high school to HBCU pipeline for our athletes, where the tens of millions of dollars that the PWIs are stealing from the black community by taking all of our athletes in, making sure almost none of them graduate, by the way. Did y'all know almost none of the black Division I athletes you watch on TV graduates with a bachelor's degree from these white colleges? So they use them up for 4 years, spit them out. Deion could have reversed that system and had them brothers going to HBCUs. Do you know what an HBCU could do? 1 year with the type of sports revenue that Duke University gets or University of Alabama gets. He would have single-handedly saved the HBCU legacy, because right now, half of all HBCUs are on target to be closed down in the next 30 years due to a lack of funding. He could have single-handedly changed that. I'm not saying it's Deion Sanders' responsibility alone, but what I am saying, if you go to any of our African ancestors and ask them, do you agree with what Deion Sanders did? None of them would.
So then how do you...
That was a selfish-ass move.
How do you tell then kids from the hood to go to an HBCU when these public white schools are giving these NIL deals to say, yo, I could change your life and give you this?
Exactly. If money is the most important thing in your life, there's nothing we can do about it.
You do got to change your family's life, though. Like, I feel like that's a little bit insensitive. Some people come from situations where they got to pay for their family.
Deion Sanders don't come from that situation. He's a multi-millionaire.
No, not Deion, but like other kids.
Again, you have your personal agenda. What is the agenda for the race? We are a people who are systemically oppressed globally. You can't do what everybody else do, or you will stay right where you are. See, the hard work that made the Anglo-Saxon what he is was put in 200 years ago. The hard work that made the Chinese what he is was put in during the reign of Mao Zedong. We never put that in. So when are we going to, for one generation, 20 years is all we need. 20 years, every black man and woman say, every decision I make and every dollar I spend is for the best interest of African people. If we did that for 20 years, if we started today, April 20th, 2023, full solar eclipse in Aries, okay? Total solar eclipse in Aries. You do that today, 20 years from now is 2043. We'd be a new people. We'd be a new people. So it doesn't have to be your whole life. But if none of us sacrifices, that's the problem with us. We don't have a sacrificial spirit. And until you get it, we never climb out. We're going to keep on being an oppressed, impoverished people with a whole bunch of millionaires that we look up to. Is that what we want, y'all? Everybody else be broke, but you got a LeBron, you got an Oprah, you got a Jay-Z. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in improving the quality of life for all African people globally. And we can't do that if black men don't sacrifice. Part of being a man is putting the people above your personal agenda. We don't do that. And our people are suffering because of it. All this black on black crime, this is all economics. This is economic desperation. Brothers need food. They got kids they got to feed. And ain't nobody gonna give me no job. Well, so guess what? I'm just gonna have to rob your mother. I'm just gonna have to shoot you. I'm gonna have to steal your car. I'm gonna have to hustle your credit cards. Because the black community is not providing for its own. English speaking, Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking, we are not operating as a people. We operate as a race of individuals, which makes it difficult for other people to respect us. We can take over this planet in a month if we got our act together. In a month, you can change the way this world operates. Ain't nobody got the ideas we got. Nobody got the talent we got. Nobody got the ingenuity we got. But we don't use it for the race. We use it for ourselves, or we sell it to white people. King, go ahead.
We're going to wrap the Q&A.
All right.
But I wanted to add, you mentioned capitalism earlier. Which do you think is better for black people? Is it capitalism or socialism?
Neither one. Pan-Africanism. And let me give you the difference. Capitalism is ownership of the means of production by the few. Capitalism, a few white men own all the land. Bill Gates has just become the largest owner of arable land in America. Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
Trivia question. Why is the computer mogul, Bill Gates, buying up all the farmland in America? You know why? What did I talk about earlier? Population control. You want some good fruits and vegetables? You're going to have to get them from me. And I'm getting all GMO crop. I'm going to engineer the crop so it does not benefit your body. It kills it. Another company just bought up all the rental property in America. A big deal. Why you want to buy up all the rental property? So people who need a place to stay can't get a place to stay. This is what they're doing for black. They are preparing to make you hungry and homeless while we buy sneakers, jeans, party, and smoke. And for my weed heads, you better be careful. Because the new marijuana that's out now ain't even real. It's synthetic, made in China, and it's sprayed with artificial cannabinoids from China, which are more toxic and deadly and neurologically damaging than opioids. We're about to get hit with a new marijuana crisis that's going to make the opioid crisis look like a picnic. Y'all better stop smoking that weed. And if you smoking weed, you better know who's growing it, and they better be growing it themselves. They did not legalize weed just to legalize weed. They legalized weed to destroy your ass with the weed. Puff, puff, pass. I don't smoke, never did. Oh, hold on, then I'm gonna come to you. Capitalism is ownership of the wealth by a few. Communism is ownership of the wealth by the state. Pan-Africanism is ownership of the wealth by the people. I am not a capitalist or a communist. Neither one works. Both came out of the minds of European races. I am a Pan-Africanist. Queen. Hold that thought. You had your hand. And who gonna be the last one for the night? I want a sister. Queen in the back. You the last one. Go ahead. Build your own. And give me that last one about black economics. How interracial, okay. I don't support interracial marriage. Not because I dislike anyone, because I don't. But if we want to save the black community, we got to save the black family. Number one. Self-determination is a principle of Pan-Africanism. We do everything ourselves, include build family. Marriage is a business arrangement. Kobe Bryant married Vanessa, right? Kobe Bryant was damn near a billionaire. He was murdered, and all his wealth went to Vanessa. Is Vanessa doing anything for the black community? Is she even thinking about doing anything for the black community? No. Tiger Woods married a white woman who was a housemaid. He cheated on her, she got $1 billion of his estate. She went from cleaning homes to being a billionaire. Why would you take from us and give to another people who have already stolen enough? To me, interracial marriage is financial treason. Interracial marriage is economic betrayal. How dare you take from our community and give to another who has already stolen enough? I'm gonna go to the psychological. Black men marry white women because they want to be white men themselves. I'm gonna go a step further. And by the way, that's a quote from Frantz Fanon, black psychiatrist who is married to a white woman himself, one of our greatest black revolutionary minds, wretched of the earth. Please read Frantz Fanon. All my political science majors, education majors, revolutionaries, read Frantz Fanon. He wrote a book called Black Skin, White Mass. All of y'all should read it. Black Skin, White Mass. In the book, he said it. Black men have inferiority complexes. They need validation from the white woman to feel equal to the white man. But I'm gonna go a step further. Black men marry white women because the white woman for the black man is a surrender flag that he shows to the white power structure to let them know he's not a threat. Did y'all hear what I just said? The white woman is the black man's I surrender flag. Because whenever I'm with my white woman, the white man know I'm no threat at all. Ain't no way in hell you sleeping with a snow bunny and you care about black folks. That's right, Charles Barkley, Shannon Sharp, all them Negroes. They are no threat at all. And that's why they get the white girl. To let the white man know I'm safe, master. You can trust me. Snow Bunny, Shannon Sharp. You can trust me. So I can't do it. I can't do it. When Marcus Garvey was amongst us 100 years ago, you couldn't join the movement if you was married or dating a non-African woman. His son, the Honorable Marcus Garvey Jr., who passed away a few years ago, he changed the rule. And he said you can be a member, but you can't be a leader. So in the Garvey movement today, you can be a member if you're in an interracial marriage, but you cannot be a leader. And I agree with that. You can't lead me nowhere if you can't even. How are you going to be committed to black people? You can't even commit yourself to a black woman. It's a complete contradiction. And the same thing goes for the black woman. Y'all not off the hook. Y'all out here chasing these white boys. And for the life of me, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand why the black goddess of the universe would dare let your oppressor climb up in your heaven and inject all his ancestors into your earth. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Harriet Tubman, say amen. Sojourner, Ida B, Fannie Lou, come get me. Because you do know when you make a baby, there's two sets of ancestors. When you make a baby, there's two sets of ancestors. So in your line, you got Marcus Garvey and Kwame Nkrumah and Steve Biko and Sekou Touré and Angela, well, she's a living, Harriet Tubman and Sojourner and Frederick and Marcus and Nat Turner. And you played with a white man. Guess who in his family? Adolf Hitler, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. And then when your son come out acting crazy. How you gonna be part slave and part slave master? But with that being said, to all my mixed race Africans, I accept mixed race Africans as full-blooded Africans if they identify. For me, it's a two-pronged test whether you're African. Are you biologically black and are you psychologically black? You could be blue, black, purple like Clarence Thomas, but if you don't identify with the race, I don't accept you as an African. You must be biologically and you must be psychologically black. Was those all my questions? Let me get this brother. I'm gonna give you the last one. Go ahead, King. Wait, did I get you, Queen?
No, my question related to her. So
Okay, so you good. Go ahead, King. Strong. I need you to market natural hair back to black woman. Go ahead. Okay, I'm not sure if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that fact, but if he did, he was wrong. Scipio Africanus did not name Africa. The name Africa is an ancient indigenous name that was given by the ancestors. The syllables of the word Africa can all be found in the ancient Egyptian text. And it has been traced by both white archaeologists and black archaeologists as predating Scipio Africanus. And guess what the word Africa means? In one interpretation, birth of man. In another interpretation, from the soul of God. Af is from, Ra is God, Ka is spirit. I come from the soul of God. No white man named Africa. That's one of the biggest lies being told. That's an original word for our people. And it's funny because you got black people running around talking about some they Native Americans, right? They Cherokees and Choctaws. Well, guess what? Cherokees own slaves. Choctaws own slaves. Seminoles own slaves. My mom was half Cherokee. Okay, was she a part of the Cherokee Nation, or was she just a slave of the Cherokee Nation? See, we got to study our history. We so ashamed of being black, we will claim anything. Have you ever noticed when a black person find out they got a little bit of something else in them, they act like they hit the damn lottery? My great-grandma was Jewish. Oh, and they won't even let your ass in a synagogue. Nowhere! I knew a sister, she found out her great-great-great-grandfather was Irish. She turned her whole room into the Boston Celtics. Listen, I'm not saying you can't own that because that's your ancestry, but that doesn't blot out your Africanity. We have the strongest genes in the world. I don't care what you mix us with, it's still African. So how you get off ignoring the African and claiming it's 1/22nd, 1/30th, 1/16th of somebody else's blood that won't even recognize you? King. Do we got time for him or no?
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for this amazing insight. My question relates to strengths. And so if you were to conduct a SWOT analysis, and we've heard a lot about weaknesses and strengths, but in terms of strengths, what do you see as a strength that we can continue maximizing?
The diversity. The diversity amongst the African race is a strength, but it gets overlooked. You know why? Because we are so committed to uniformity. We want everybody to be a Muslim, everybody to be a Christian, everybody to be a Democrat, everybody to be a Republican, everybody to believe in God, everybody not to believe in God, everybody to think this way, do it this way. I love the fact that the Puerto Rican African may look at the race problem differently than the Nigerian African. I love the fact that the Panamanian African's approach to our economic liberation may be different from the New York City African. Diversity is to be embraced. And why? If you got a million different perspectives, how can you come up with the wrong solution? We got to stop being afraid of a brother or sister with a different opinion. Me and the princess right here, we disagree on LGBTQ. But guess what? That don't make her my enemy. I still need her at the table to solve the problems of the race. The only way she can become my enemy is if she aligns herself with the white LGBTQ against heterosexual black alpha males, as some of our LGBTQ sisters are doing. I know she's not doing that, but we do. That is an issue where some of our LGBTQ sisters will rock out with the white feminists against the heterosexual black males. And we can't do that. Black man, that's another thing. Black men have to stop trying to publicly humiliate black women on social media. I'm sick and tired of black men making YouTube videos and TikTok streams and Instagrams talking about how you don't like black women, they no good, they not worth your time. What other man do you see all over social media denigrating his woman? Nobody does that but us, and you are unworthy of being called a man if you're doing that. I don't care how bad the black woman made you feel, take it up with her, take it up with a group of sisters, have the argument in private, have the conversation with your brothers in private, but we cannot go out in public and tell the world we don't care about black women. Black women are already the most raped, the most abducted, the most mistreated, the most beaten. Our sisters are the most vulnerable. Yeah, she might have more education than us. She might make more money than us, but do not get it twisted. The white man don't care about the black woman any more than he cares about the black man. United we stand, divided we fall. Last one.
Peace, King. My name is 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚂𝚗. I graduated from here about 5 years ago with an accounting degree, but I'm actually a health and safety professional. So my question is related to what you brought up earlier. You broke down your family tree and your lineage. I feel like, as a Dominican man, I feel like a lot of our history is especially our African history, has been deleted. How did yourself or myself go about searching, discovering your history within that knowledge?
That's a good question. Because one of the things we're going to do when we open up the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, and I would invite all y'all to come on down to the school. Some of y'all who graduate and send me a resume if you want to work at the school, fdmgresumes@gmail.com. Remember, you got to be natural, right? I never had to trace that tree because since we was related to Frederick Douglass, the family always kept it together. So it was passed to me, I didn't have to find it. But if you're trying to reconstruct your tree, number one, you got to have a lot of energy because you got to do a lot of research. If you know your ancestors' names, birth date or death date, and county of birth, you can put your whole tree together. I'm going to say it again. If you have your ancestors' names, birth date and or death date, and county of birth or death, you can put your whole family tree together. If the more famous your ancestors were, the easier it is to track. Let's say you had a grandfather who was a pastor of a church. It's going to be easy because the first thing you're going to do is pull up the archives on all the newspapers on the time that he lived, search his name, pull him up. And then you're going to find other relatives when you pull him up. If your ancestor owned a business, if your ancestor was a singer, a dancer, a politician, a civil rights leader, the more famous the ancestor and the more unique the name, the easier it is to find them. If your name is real common, let's say your great-great-grandfather's name was Sam Jones. It's a million of them. So you're going to be doing some digging, right? But if it's 𝚂𝚗𝙱𝚂𝙺𝚁𝙸𝙱𝚴, then it ain't going to be that much work. But libraries, historical societies, genealogical societies, vital statistics, and I want to also tell you guys, African American Genealogical Society. Look up the African American Genealogical Society. They help you trace your family tree. And if any of your ancestors were in the Civil War, you go to the United States. What is the library? I was just there 2 years ago getting copies of all my ancestors' Civil War documents. It's in D.C., a few blocks from the Smithsonian African American Museum. It's not the Library of Congress, but Library of Congress if they was in the service as well. But I wasn't at the Library of Congress. This is a Civil War library in D.C. if you had an ancestor in the Civil War. But if you had an ancestor in any war, Library of Congress. So first you got to find out who your ancestors were and find out anything that they did so you kind of know the occupation. And the one thing y'all got to do, any old people in your family, you better write down everything you can about their memory about your ancestors. You got a 90-year-old grandma and you didn't ask her to tell you the family story, you better get with it before she goes to the ancestors. You got a 75-year-old uncle, you got an 80-year-old great aunt, do not let your elders die before you get the family records, the family chronology, the family history. I made a big mistake. One of my great aunts kept telling me to come to her house so she could tell me about my mother's father's family. I'm related to Frederick Douglass from my father's mother, but this was my great aunt who was my mother's aunt. I had a grandfather who was taught by Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee. And she told me, come to the house, I'm going to give you all the history. And I got so busy with saving black people, I never got around to the house. She went to the ancestors, and all her knowledge of the family went with her. I'll never get it back, y'all. So I'm telling you, young people now, don't make the mistake that I made. I would go to every old person I can this summer. While y'all on break, get that. Take out an audio recorder, take out your iPhone, and let them talk. Where were you born? Where were your father born? Where was his mother born? Because as African people, we believe in ancestors. They are our angels. They travel with us. One of the differences between African culture and other cultures, when you die, you don't exit the family. You just exit the body, but the spirit stays in the house. Your ancestors remain with you, and we continue to talk to them as if they were right there. We give them a room. We give them water. When we eat, they eat. When we make a plate of food, they get a plate of food. Your ancestors are always alive and always with you, and you can talk to them. They are not God. They were created by God to help you achieve your destiny on earth. You must honor your ancestors. On that note, I thank you, brothers and sisters. You got my number. Send me those pictures. If anybody didn't get a photo and you want a photo, feel free to come on up and grab one. your hand if you a senior. Any seniors in here? All y'all seniors? I want my seniors to come on up. I'm giving you a free copy of my book.
Thank you everyone for coming out. We really appreciate it. Do not forget, we just talked about student loan debt. Come out to our event tomorrow at 8 p.m. at Kessel Multi-Purpose Room. Find out how to get that scholarship. Thank you everyone. Have a good night.
There's free soda, free drinks, less food you guys can say. You guys want?